Welcome to the debut episode of Benny's Booth, brought to you by Singing Success. I hope that you learned something and just feel like you're hanging out with friends. Let's jump in. So the idea behind doing these conversations is that I get to work with a lot of amazing people in different facets of the industry, and we end up having really interesting conversations. Everyone's so generous with their knowledge, Kathleen is, and it's occurred to me a lot of times that others would really benefit from hearing the things that she has to say. You are a music lawyer working at Buchalter, which is an iconic team here in Nashville.
Yes, they are.
So tell us about them and about yourself.
So I joined Buchalter just recently. I've been in Nashville for about 3 years, a little under 3 years, but whatever. I came down to Nashville to do corporate law, like exclusively corporate law. I've been a corporate lawyer for 8 years now, God. And I came to Nashville just to do that, but I started getting more integrated into the music community here. I love music. I love live music, and that's what I do in my free time. So I started kind of, integrate that into my corporate practice because the music business is still a business.
Yep.
People still need lawyers, whether they want to or not. And so I started doing a lot of corporate work for music companies at my previous firm. And I really enjoyed that and really wanted to kind of bridge the gap between just a corporate lawyer into more of the industry work. And in order to do that, I didn't really have much opportunity to do it where I was. And I got a call from Buchalter to join their team of Lauren Spahn, Jim Zumwalt, just some absolute titans of names. They've been so gracious and they're so knowledgeable. And I get the benefit of working with them every day and having their contacts be my contacts and to just get to pick their brains about all of the things that they already know. And so that has it's been a lot of fun as an education and to continue to learn, to do more stuff and to bring what I already know from 8 years of doing corporate business stuff into the music industry. It's been a lot of fun for me.
And Lauren, I saw, was one of the top music attorneys of 2025.
Yep.
Recognized by Billboard, I believe. So
yeah, crazy. Like I just follow her around like a puppy sometimes because she's fantastic. She's a huge advocate for the people that are on her team, but also for her artists and the recording companies that she has and all of the people that she has on her roster. It's really fun to watch her work because she's just so good at it. And so to be able to learn from her and talk with her every day and have her come into my office and be like, we're going to go see this touring rehearsal. You want to come? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Thanks. Meanwhile, my previous job, I'm doing corporate securities work, and it's like we never do anything fun. But it's been really great to just benefit from their mentorship and all the things and all the people that they know has just been really cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. And Jim is an iconic music attorney.
Oh, yeah.
When he spoke at our retreat, I think 2 years ago now, he was working on the Eras tour. And I think he had mentioned working with Paramore and getting them onto the European leg of that. But and prior to that, it's just been a long list of A-list work type of thing. So
I walk into the office, I have to pass by all of Jim's platinum and diamond and gold records that are all on the wall and all have his name on it. He has so many that some of them have to live in other offices that are not his. It's this is the Jim Zumwalt office, and then this is the Jim Zumwalt Awards office, which is just, it's so cool whenever he comes into the office to get to be around that personality and hear his war stories. Has been really fun.
Yeah, I love hearing those types of stories.
Yeah.
I have a few myself, but none that I would share.
Well, music doesn't have an HR department, which thank God, because everybody would be fired immediately.
Yeah.
But the way the things were done, especially as Jim was coming up, aren't, thank God, the way things are necessarily done now. And so it's just hearing what used to be acceptable.
Yeah.
Is just odd.
Yeah.
Fun, but really just, I couldn't imagine that happening today. Just could not even imagine.
Yeah. Well, talking about the way things used to be done, And I'm definitely no snitch, so there's no no names coming. But there's a question because we talked about what kind of things to discuss because people have a lot of questions about. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. For someone like myself, I'm sure there's people asking the question, what the heck is the difference between a lawyer and an attorney? Can we start there?
Sure. Yes. Okay. So an attorney at law is like the full name, right? An attorney is someone who has passed the bar, has the Esquire after their name, and a lawyer is someone who has a law degree. So that's kind of the difference. They're used interchangeably. They're like real estate agent and realtor. Even though there is like a tangible difference between those two things, they're used pretty interchangeably. But technically you become an attorney when you pass the bar exam. So there's like this in-between period of law school and attorneyhood, I guess, when you haven't passed the bar yet. And some people just never take the bar. So they're just lawyers. They just had these law degrees. They're lawyers forever. But yeah, that's the major difference. Is an attorney is someone who has passed a bar exam in a state.
And for people working at a law firm, are they all attorneys typically?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yes. So in order to practice law, you have to be barred in a state. You have to be barred in the state that you're sitting in. And so I've moved around. I went to law school in Chicago. I lived in Ohio, and now I live here. So I have 3 expensive pieces of paper hanging in my office. But in order to practice law in any state, in a law firm environment, they have to be attorneys. A lot of folks in a business role, like in a business development role or something, they will have a law degree, but they will be sitting in a business role, not actually touching law, not doing the practice of law, standing up in court, things like that. Those folks can have just a law degree. And I went to law school with people that were coming from the business world. They wanted to go back into the business world, but for some kind of like risk management or whatever, they felt it would be important to get a law degree. I don't know why you would ever get a law degree if you weren't going to practice law because it's so hard and annoying to get one. But that's what they ended up doing. And then there's also folks that go in-house that are attorneys in-house for a corporation. So like if you were to work at Sony and you were Sony's lawyer as an employee of Sony, you would be an in-house lawyer and you still have passed a bar in a state, but if you move states, like let's say I was barred in Illinois, I moved down here to work for Sony, there is a special exception that I can get through Tennessee that I'm only representing Sony. And so it's like an in-house counsel exception. So if you are in a law firm environment, this is a very long way of saying that the law firm environment, you have to be barred in the state that you're sitting in.
Got it.
Which took me a long time in Tennessee. So I had passed the bar more than 5 years ago in Illinois, and Tennessee and Illinois has reciprocity with each other. And when I moved down to Tennessee, I didn't have to take the bar exam again, which is so nice because that was a miserable process. And I could waive into the state, but the state has been really backlogged for a long time. So they were like, it could take up to a year. It took 22 months.
Oh my gosh.
My application was filed on December 18th of 2023. And I got notice on Halloween this past year that Tennessee was like, you can be a lawyer now.
Halloween's my birthday. So you were blessed on my birthday.
On your birthday. Yes, exactly. It's the most important of adult days.
Why did it take so long?
No one knows.
Just their backlog of things?
I think there's like 2 or 3 people working in that. And every time like a new batch of lawyers would pass a bar exam, I would just get shumphed to the back of the line.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was quite funny because the law firm that I was working for kept emailing me. They're like, are you barred in this state yet? And I'm like, no. But I kept reaching out to the state and I was like, is it weird that I have been practicing law in your state for the last 2 years? And they were like, no, you're fine. We have your application. And I'm like, okay, as long as you guys are cool, I'm cool. So it was, yeah.
So you mentioned someone like Sony and definitely different record labels and stuff having lawyers. Are they friends or foes?
I think everybody in the Nashville music industry is a friend. I think in a lot of ways, like obviously we have different goals, but like everybody in town is trying to expand the pie so that everybody gets more pie when we have to divvy it up. The in-house lawyers, like they're seeing so much and they're processing so much, but we're all in the same community of like legal professionals in the music industry in Nashville. And so I see them as friends, even if, the negotiations can get a little heavy sometimes. But I think at the end of the day, everybody is trying to expand the pie so that when we divvy it up, which we eventually have to do, we all get more pie. Yeah.
More pie definitely sounds good.
More pie.
You're speaking my language.
There's going to be a lot of food metaphors going on. I don't have the ability to not do that, unfortunately.
So I first found out that music attorneys were a thing from Brett Manning. That's when I was training under him to be a vocal coach, to get certified. I'd be observing his clients who were starting to get some momentum, and he'd ask them, do you have a music attorney? Most would say no, some would say yes, but for a lot of them, they were starting to go viral or starting to have meetings come up, with publishers and record labels, and that's when they would start thinking about it. But I have since found out that is not the best time to do it. It's better to start even sooner.
Yeah.
So for someone who's new to town or working on building a music career as a singer, or writer, or whatever, when is the right time to think about getting a music attorney?
I think the earlier the better, so that you are prepared when you walk into any room. You should not be signing any agreements that have anything to do with any kind of grant of rights at all, unless you have counsel review that, because it gets really hairy really fast when you're talking about copyrights and licenses and, all of those things. It gets very, very complicated really quickly. And so having someone that you have already talked to and work with is really important and really makes that process a lot easier. But I would get a lawyer involved as quickly as possible, even from a corporate formation perspective. If you don't have an LLC yet, you need one, because it's just good corporate hygiene and structuring to have your personal and your business separate from each other, having a separate music bank account, things like that, where you have an LLC that can issue 1099s to your band members or whatever. And a lawyer can help you do that and help form especially yes, if you are a solo artist, but especially if you are in a band situation where you are in a vocal group, a good lawyer can help form your LLC agreement, your operating agreement, which will dictate, the ownership structure, who's managing it, who's doing day-to-day operations, what happens to the copyright if the business dissolves, of any songs that you've written, of any songs you've put out. All of those things are important to set from the ground level and to have a basic understanding of, so that as you grow and as you get bigger and you become the artist that you are trying to become, you've already acted like them from the beginning.
Got it. So I'm a little ignorant, very ignorant when it comes to everything law. So when you say grant of rights, what is that?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a thing called intellectual property. And intellectual property is your songs. It is the intangible things that you own. Patents, trademarks, and copyrights are the three big intellectual property areas. And in the music world, we deal with trademarks a good amount. No one's inventing, unless you're inventing new instruments, you're really not dealing with patents. But I don't know, if you have the next guitar, you might need a patent lawyer to do that. But whatever. But in the large space, we're dealing with copyright. And in copyright, you get, if you write a song or you have a master recording of a song, which are our two big, if we're talking about artists, are two big areas, you have, as the owner of that copyright, certain rights to do it, which include the right to public performance, the right to reproduction, and the right to license it out to other people, and other rights as well. But in that world, it becomes, and everybody's talking about it, right? When we talk about Taylor Swift buying back her masters, that's what we're talking about copyright. And we're talking about, the right to make money off of those things. And that's what your contracts are going to start looking like, especially when you are coming up and you're talking to publishers, you're talking to record labels, you're talking to distributors, you're talking to all of these people. Who owns the copyright, who has what license to do what with the copyright. All of those things are very operative terms in the agreements that you'll be signing. And if you are owning any part of your copyright, which inevitably you will if you're writing your own songs, and even if if you're putting out your own master recordings, you will own the copyright to those things. But if you are in like a band situation, let's say, you have a band of 4 people, we have 10 songs. We've decided to dissolve the band. Well, what happens to the copyright ownership of those songs? Does it revert to one person in the band? Does it revert? Do we like, what are we agreeing to do with it? Does it, individually we will each get 25%? Do we have to like go out and find a deal to sell these things and liquidate our assets in the property? Those kinds of conversations are uncomfortable. But if you're having them at the beginning before money is involved, they become less uncomfortable, because it is easier to have conversations about money when there's no money involved. Like when no one's making anything, you can have as many conversations as you want about where the money will eventually go. It's a lot harder if you've got a viral song that is bringing in $1 million, and now you have to figure out how to divvy up that pie. Again, pie. Always pie.
Well, okay, talking about pie and copyright, is this something, because the most common thing I think that someone might discuss early in moving to Nashville or some big music city and talking about copyright is going to be just split sheets in a write. Like, oh, we're going to co-write together, someone bring a split sheet type of a thing. Is this something that you can dispute after the fact? Like if you, in your band situation, everyone just got a quarter of like the song, but then 3 of the guys are like, well, Jake was just eating pie in the back, stuffing his face and just texting, so we gave him a quarter, whatever ownership of the song, but he didn't contribute jack. Could you change that after the fact?
You can argue whatever you want in court. Okay. You can go into court and say whatever you want. And the issue becomes like, not who is correct and not who's going to win, but how much money you're going to spend arguing about these things, right? I always see like an LLC agreement or a band agreement or anything like a marriage or a co-write. Like if you have, some agreement with how you're going to split, the writing credit or whatever, it's like a marriage. Like if you don't have a prenup, the state gives you one, and then you have to go into court and argue about who owns what things, right? If you have the prenup, though, it's written on a piece of paper about who gets what stuff. So you can, and people always do. I went through this with, we had an LLC agreement, and then we weren't really sure who the members were of the LLC because they didn't have an LLC agreement that was signed at the time that they formed the company. And so they had one band member that they had kicked out that was coming back and trying to needle his way back in. And he's like, well, you guys kicked me out, but I'm still an owner of these songs and this one, and you owe me royalties for that. But if you have an agreement, an LLC agreement, an operating agreement that says, these are the 25% owners, the 25% copyrights, all of the copyrights that are owned by the LLC, we split 25% each way. Then you have what happens if we want to expel a member from the band or a member of the band leaves? And what happens to their copyright ownership? What are they then owed and for how long? You can set all that up ahead of time with a good lawyer, which everybody needs a lawyer. But you can set that up ahead of time, and then you're not sitting there arguing back and forth between each other, trying to figure it out. After the fact, when there's money on the table. And everyone's going to lie, cheat, and steal to get as much money as possible. But if you have agreed ahead of time before, we're going to split everything 25%. If you leave the band, you're leaving your 25% in the band. Or you get, you get paid out on a certain amount of the compositions that you were helping to create. Because again, you can go into court and argue whatever you want. Dumb people do that all the time. And it's not about whether or not you have merit. It's about what merit you can prove in front of a judge and how long and how much money it's going to take you to do that.
Oh my.
And if you have a piece of paper that says, this is what we agreed to, it is a very easy court case to say, this is what we agreed to, judge. And the judge will say, you're right. And then that's the end of it. And it makes your life so much easier to just do that ahead of time.
Man.
People are crazy.
Yeah, well, working with students who have record deals, huge followings and everything, legal things come up all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I can think of one instance, and I won't name any names, just out of respect.
Yeah.
But an instance where someone played on a song that blew up, and then that person felt like they were entitled to points on that song. And so that was a massive deal because that wasn't discussed ahead of time. And
Yep.
in those types of situations, who typically gets, who benefits more typically? Is it the player who's asking for points when that wasn't discussed? You know, he might have just been work for hire.
Yeah.
Or is it the artist? Or
Yeah.
who's favored in those types of cases?
Well, it depends. The answer the lawyer is always going to give is that it depends. It depends on the facts. It depends on the discussions that were had ahead of time. It depends on, whether that player is a session player continually for that studio or whether or not they're being brought in under, a separate agreement. They work specifically for the artist or whatever ends up being. It depends. And so in that situation, typically the default is going to be, I can't say for sure because again, fact dependent, but like if there was no discussion about getting points ahead of time, if there was no, talk about this band member getting more than just what their fee was for playing on the track, then it's going to be really tough for them to come back in after the fact and try to negotiate more a points type of situation on a deal. That's why you have contracts. And, we have agreements for producers that, it sets out what the percentages are and any points and whatever fees they're getting paid. And I think it's just good hygiene also to have those for your band members too. To have an agreement with the players that are playing for you on the road or for you in town, and like having it built into their agreement that like if we use you on any track, you'll be like compensated with some kind of a fee schedule, whether that's a flat fee or whatever. But like you understand that it's a work for hire and that you are not going to be the copyright owner of any of the track that you lay down. That's always, again, it's just a good thing to have before you walk into these environments. To run it like you're the CEO of that business. And like as the CEO, how are you most protective of your company? You get everybody under a contract so that everybody in the room is under the exact same understanding of what your relationship is. I know that like, as soon as I see my boyfriend's a drummer as soon as he's like, hey, I got this band member agreement, can you look at it? I'm like, we are in a good position because that means that the artist that he's working for has it together. Like they have it together. They know what's going on. They want to get this done right. And even if the contract isn't a great one, like it's not what I would necessarily draft. It's not to be an expensive contract. It should be better than ChatGPT. But other than that, like you're already in a better place because you are getting your agreements with the people that are working in your business down on paper. So that when it comes in the future, if you blow up, everyone's going to come for their piece, right? But if you have all these things that you're like, man, like I paid you $500 for that track. This is the agreement you signed. I'm sorry. That's it. If you want to negotiate further down, then you'd get a new contract. Like you get another contract to say what a point situation is. But yeah, that's the importance of the contract, and the importance of the contract is making sure no one can come back later and claim more money or more ownership of the thing that you have already.
So I think I know your answer then to the following question, but a lot of times people have said it to me, they've said it to my friends in town, especially when you're working with someone new or just a different team, is, hey, this artist that we're developing or this music that we're working on, let's not worry about splits and all of that till we start gaining some momentum. Good or bad?
In a shocking turn of events, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that because like you are just delaying what you perceive to be an uncomfortable conversation. You're delaying it to a point where it will be more uncomfortable because there will be more money and like everybody's going to want their percentage of the pie. So if you agree ahead of time, like, hey, I am going to do this, this, and this, and this, and I expect my split to be this. And the other person goes, that's great. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this, and I expect my split to be this. And you have it and you write it down on a friggin' napkin and you say, we agree that for the song, bleh, we are going to split this 50-50. Signed both people. That doesn't, that's going to put you in a so much better position if you do blow up and you have all of these other concerns to worry about, then it would, like, it costs you nothing to have that conversation up front. So just do it now when there's no money involved. It's a lot less uncomfortable to discuss.
So if someone says that, you might tell the artist, you know, like, just say, hey, would you say, I don't want to kill the vibe or something, but this is something I'd rather have ironed out now?
Yeah. I would honestly, it can be like that. Like, not to, in Nashville, if you're running in the country space, a lot of time the default is an equal split, right? So if you are writing for country music, and there's 2 people in the room, then the split is 50-50. The 3 people split is a third, a third, a third. So those conversations are not happening as much because there's already a market standard of what the splits end up being. But if you are writing for any other genre, it can vary widely. And so, you know, if you're in that position and you just walk in and they're like, well, let's not talk about that. It's like, let's just write it down on this napkin. You can make a joke out of it. Like, I'm going to write down on this napkin that we're all splitting it equally. Everybody cool with that? Yes. Great. Fantastic. It's 3 seconds of your life.
And that's all it takes.
And you move on. And also, like, to me, you have to show up into those rooms as the artist you want to be. You may not be Lainey Wilson right now. You may not be Cody Johnson right now. But if you want to be those people, you need to show up in those rooms and be the people that you want to be in the future. They are tight in their business. And so if you want to go to that level and have these opportunities and have people take you seriously in those opportunities as well, act like you are those people already. Like, they know exactly what the splits are and like what their contracts are set. And so be that person now for your business later. Like, you know, dress for the job you want. Like, act like the artist you want to be. Yeah.
I remember being in a session where, a recording session as the vocal coach, and kind of vocal producer, but vocal coach mainly. And then the producer says to me, like, hey, if you can think of ways to better this song, if anything comes to you, like, let's make the song as good as it can be. You know, we're just trying to make the song awesome. We're not doing it for points. And
of course
so,
not.
yeah. And I was a younger buck back then.
Yeah,
and
sure.
so, but I noticed that statement, and it stuck out to me. Why are we not doing it for points? Why did he feel like he needed to say that? I hadn't thought about it a whole lot. And I had heard what you said, and I knew it, that for most people, it's an even split, or for most writing situations. So what I thought of was, if I'm contributing a single word to the song, it could potentially be the most important word of that song.
Right.
And so I should be entitled to an even split. You know, if I was writing, you know, if we're recording Katy Perry's new song called Shout, and I'm like, you know what? It would make more sense to name the song Roar, because that's what a lion does. Should I not get a lot? You know, should I not get a good split?
Right.
I contributed one word, but it was the most important freaking word.
Yeah.
You know, so in situations where you do discuss splits ahead of time, if people want to get fancy with like the breakdown of those splits, would you say like, don't collaborate with that person? Or would you say like...
No, I don't think so. I think it depends on the intention.
Okay.
I think, you know, I don't see a problem with getting fancy with percentages. I see a problem with nickel and diming the people that you're around. And like, if you are in a position and someone's like, I don't think we should split, you know, evenly this way because of this reason. And it's a reason that makes sense. You know, I can't even think off the top of my head what a reason like that would be. But like, or an example, like you came in, you're in the room, you're like, I have one line. Here's my line. And it's like, hey, okay, that's cool. Like, let's do, Benny just walked in and did that. Let's do 10% to Benny. And then we'll split the other 90% because Benny came in and gave us like one part of the song and then left, like wasn't necessarily involved on the whole right or whatever it ends up being. And everyone in the room agrees and everyone's cool with it, whatever. That's fine. But if you are in a situation with someone that's like, you can smell it from a mile away, right? You can tell when the vibes are off and someone's trying to just like take advantage of the situation, get as much as they can out of it and give you as little as they can muster to give you. That's when you want to walk out of those rooms and not work with those people.
Yeah.
It's all about surrounding yourself with people who are going to be fair and a lot of folks in this town will be, but there are a lot of skeezy people too that will be like, well, you know, my fee off the top for doing this is $500. And then we can talk about splits later. Does that smell right to you? Like, it doesn't smell right to me. So, you know, if those are the rooms, check your gut and like trust your gut intention. No matter how powerful or important you perceive that person in that room to be, your gut is going to inform whether or not the deals that you're looking at make any logical sense.
See, really good things to think about and have a concept of, or whatever, philosophy around before you get into the rooms.
Yeah.
Because it can hit you like a train when you start getting into different rooms for different reasons. For me, first it was production, and as the vocal coach, and then as a contributing, like a co-producer type of thing. And again, these like people make all these kind of comments, like what I said, we're not doing this for points or work for hire comments or whatever. When you're in the session, and it gets like really weird, especially if you're someone who isn't prepared to talk about these kind of things.
For sure.
And we've talked about it. You know, musicians are so passionate about their craft, and oftentimes just particularly passionate about their one instrument. So they are people who have this super granular focus in life. I am going to be the best accordion player there is.
Yes.
Like, I live and breathe just accordion. So when we talk about music, that's not even specific enough. We are talking about accordion music if we're in my realm. So people like that tend not to think about other things, like forming a business around their music, like you said, splits and whatever else. So so that was part of the reason for doing this type of thing too, is to try to get the word out, especially for newer people, because I think a lot of people move to town and then they discover this in the trenches, and they usually have one nightmare experience, if not multiple, when it comes to it. But
it's one of those things that, like, you know, you and I have talked about, like the folks that are coming in here and that are, you know, going already to vocal lessons, they're already trying to do the craft correctly, right? And so they know that it's worth the investment to do things in the right way, and, you know, to set up a foundation at the forefront for you to grow upon. And it's the same with the business aspect. Like, you know, there are some great books about music business. Like, everybody talks about the Don Passman book, like All You Need to Know About the Music Industry. Great, fantastic book. Fantastic book that's going to, like, help you know what you need to ask, like the questions that you need to ask your lawyer, your business manager, any manager that comes your way, any record label stuff that comes your way, just to ask those questions. But, like, from a basic perspective, like, I think it's important, and people are, again, walking into this room, they already understand that it's a craft and a skill, but also it's a business. So, like, everything that you do, you're a business, and what you're selling is you and your voice and your sound. And, like, you're the CEO of that. So act like the CEO. You know, if you are paying people, you need, like, I'm not an accountant. This is not tax advice. This is also, like, not legal advice, because I'm a lawyer, not your lawyer. But you can be. But I could be. But it's not, like, this is certainly not tax advice, but, like, tracking all your receipts, like tracking everything you pay to a vocal coach and being like, this is a business expense for me. Because it is. And any money that you bring in is business income. And, like, when you buy strings for your guitar, when you park your car downtown to play a gig on Broadway, all those are business expenses. Paying your band is a business expense. They're not your employees, but they're your 1099 contractors. And so that's another thing. When we get in the mail a 1099 from somebody that my boyfriend has played with before, I'm like, man, they're doing, like, that's exactly what you should be doing. Because, like, that establishes yourself as a business. It makes people take you seriously. And it makes sure that you are running things in a way that's not going to get convoluted down the line.
So do you recommend for musicians to do an LLC? Because most musicians that I've known just do a sole proprietorship.
Yep.
Is there a reason not to do that?
No, it depends. Everything depends on your situation. And your advisor can tell you what that is. But, like, a sole proprietorship is a great it's a great situation. It's basically an LLC with one member, and you are the member. And so but it still like creates the legal separation between you as an individual and your business. And the reason we want stuff like that is so that like your business is the one that is engaging, we call it like for the services of the artist. So it's like ABC LLC for the services of Kathleen Martini. And the business is the one that's actually like shrimping out my services as an artist. But then like if for some reason somebody wants to sue me, they sue my business. They don't sue me as a person, which it's an asset protection thing too. Like you can't go after my house if you're suing my LLC. You can in certain situations. Again, everything depends, but whatever. But any kind of separation between church and state, as like your business should be over here, your personal should be over here, and there should be very little overlap, or as little overlap as you can muster in a business with no HR department like the music business. But
okay, so if I form an LLC, can I then take a fat loan out to get a vintage Gibson and just be totally fine?
No. I mean, if a bank will loan that to you, which like I doubt.
Okay. Okay.
Which first, like the bank will not loan. A lot of banks are like, we need 3 years of income statements for the LLC specifically before you give any money. It's hard to get a credit card even. But a lot of times, like unless it's called piercing the corporate veil. If there is a compelling reason to go after someone in their personal capacity because they were not operating in their capacity as a president of the business or whatever, then they can pierce the corporate veil and come after you personally. But the thing is that if they are lending to a corporation or to an LLC or to a business entity, they are fully aware of the fact that like it is a separate entity. And so that is why they require, like you can't put down a personal income statement unless you're co-signing for the loan. And have them make a loan out to your LLC. So there are backstops in place to stop that from happening. Got it. So it's not really, and that's the bank's underwriting and doing whatever. But if you create an LLC, it's also good for situations in which in the future you may need a line of credit from a bank. If you have established your sole proprietorship, your LLC, whatever, your S corporation, whatever you want it to be, consult your tax advisors, of what the best option is for you, then you start building tax returns, right? You start building books and records of the corporation, of the LLC, of whatever entity you're using. And then in the future, when you are blowing up and you're like, I need a loan for a tour bus because we need to buy a bus because we're doing 300 dates next year, whatever it ends up being. That's an absurd number, obviously, but whatever it ends up being, then you have the business structure and you have the business income to show the bank that you have taken this seriously. This is the amount of money that you've brought in. These are your expenses, and then they can underwrite a loan for you. It keeps everything, and then the bus also is an asset of the corporation. So anything that happens with the bus is a liability of the corporation, and it keeps you separate from it.
Yeah, things that I think musicians don't often think about.
No,
those kinds of things.
Why would they?
Yeah, you love accordion.
You love the accordion. The kazoo is your passion in life. How dare anyone even mention thinking about the law, which I understand entirely. But yeah, and that's, a business manager is helpful in these regards. Managers are helpful in these regards. And your legal team, like your lawyer and getting, even if it's not like, Buchalter is, big firm, whatever. We represent artists and we represent companies. Even if there's tons of lawyers on Music Row that can help you with this. We have a lot of good recommendations for people that we know and like. But it doesn't have to cost you, the arm and a leg that you think it might end up costing you. But it is worth it in the long run because, if nothing goes wrong, that's great. Your lawyer has done their job. If something goes wrong, though, and you have a ChatGPT agreement that doesn't actually protect you and puts wrong things in, then you're screwed. And it's going to be a lot more money out of your pocket than it would have been to just engage counsel ahead of time. And
so, yeah, managers could do that. But am I wrong in thinking that it might be best for a lawyer to consult you when it comes to that?
Yeah.
Those kinds of things?
I say manager because managers often have the relationships with counsel. So a lot of
I
times
see.
the managers
Yeah.
have the relationships in town that you may not have, especially if you're new to town and you like get in and go to the manager. Asking them like who their lawyers on the call are is a good idea because they have a lot of their relationship people, managers often, and so they will know the lawyers to talk to and they can direct you in the right direction. Which, you know, in my opinion, like, sure, you can pick and choose lawyers and you can fire your lawyer and whatever, but any lawyer that you get, especially at the beginning to like form your entity, is going to be better than no lawyer at all.
Okay, random different questions about this stuff. So because of your background, when I hear terms like corporate, securities,
Yeah.
yeah, those kinds of things,
Your eyes glaze over and
I'm like,
debt finance, private equity.
I heard these terms on Shark Tank, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But, okay, so I've heard, and again, this is the snitch thing I was going to say. I'm not a snitch. I know a lot of amazing people. But I've heard of people who do very shady things in the music industry that revolve around kickbacks. And kickbacks of all different sorts. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely everywhere. Let's say that it involves performance at massive venues and you having some type of kickback incentive to book this A-list artist for a venue, knowing that you're gonna, get paid 10% or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I've heard of people making astronomical amounts of money doing this kind of thing, and they're not supposed to be doing it.
Yeah.
If you expose it, I'm not telling anyone to be a snitch either, but is this a situation like in the corporate world where if you bring something to light, there can be a lawsuit where you make a lot of money out of it, or?
Yeah, maybe it depends. It continually depends. It could be a situation, if there's a situation where fraud is involved, then definitely. If there is a situation where like there's some kind of like an embezzlement thing, then for sure. Kickbacks in the public, where I used to live in the public company space in securities regulation, those are really it's revolving around like the SEC and things of that nature when it comes to like publicly traded companies, which is typically not what we're dealing with in the music industry. But like, I mean, kickbacks, they're all over the place. And like, you just have to be, it could like, sure. Like, could you get like a class action of people together and be like, we're going to sue this and like get some amount of money back? Sure. You can try that. But it takes a lot of time and effort. So my recommendation is that you just, as an artist, you be advised that like those exist. Managers get them. Business managers get them. Like ask your this is very important. Ask your business manager, like, if they are getting any kind of like consideration for investing your money in certain things or for like getting you to use certain management, certain agents, certain lawyers, certain accountants. They should not be, because I don't like, that's just not right. But like you need to ask them ahead of time to make sure that you understand what you're dealing with. Because in that situation too, if they're getting a kickback for sending you over to a lawyer and the lawyer sucks, then like then you are with a crappy lawyer, and they just got money for it, and it's not your best interest, it's theirs. And like the kickback situation, it can get really deep. It's hard to figure out from like what the perspective that you were talking about, who would sue who in that regard.
What I'm thinking is maybe the artist would sue the manager,
Sure.
or the booking agent, depending on the situation. Because label artists, until they really blow up, are just accruing debt, right? That needs to be recouped.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, they're not making very much money whatsoever from
Right.
touring, which is crazy because that
Yeah.
used to be the one place that's untouched. But I keep hearing more and more people tell me that labels are getting a slice of that pie as well. And so
Everyone's trying for the 360 deal. They want
Yeah.
your merch. They want your touring. They want, if they get you an acting gig, they want that. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say your manager sidestepped the booking agent or played booking agent, right? At some venue where he's going to get a 10% kickback of it. That money, and he's already getting 10% or whatever his deal is, right? That money should have gone to the artist or to cover other expenses so that he could hopefully net something from these performances. So that's what I was thinking is, would that make sense to...
That would involve, to me, and I'm not a litigator. I don't sue people. If I'm in court, something's gone horribly wrong and I'm crying. So I am not suing anybody. We have a whole team at Buchalter that does that, and it's not me. But in that situation, one, it would depend on like what your contract with your manager says, which I know a lot of managers are operating on like no contracts. Like there's a lot of handshake deals going on in the management space. That works for the business. That doesn't work for me as a risk-averse lawyer, but that's not my issue. Like, I think you should have a contract involved. So it would depend on what your agreement with the manager is. And then, like, at that point, if they are directly taking money out of your pocket of fees that, like, you should have received, then that's, like, a full conversation you need to have. And that may be a demand letter if it has arisen to the point that you should be doing that, and you should talk to a lawyer about that and say, like, always get a feel for exactly, like, I like to put into contracts that like statements will be delivered, like a statement of all accounts. If you are getting a payment out from a venue, whoever's paying you should give like a breakdown, like a restaurant type breakdown, itemized list of all the things that like were deducted from the final fee that you were paid, so that you can go in from an accounting perspective and be like, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. And if your manager is getting a kickback and it is a situation, the situation that I can see like this really becoming an issue is like, one, if the kickback's being taken out of your fee for some reason, two, if like this show was not in the best interest of you as an artist to take, but the manager knew you were getting kickback, so the manager booked you for that show, or you accepted that show, even though it wasn't like the best option for you, or in some other way that you ended up losing money. Those are situations in which you're going to want to talk to like potentially a litigator. You should talk to the manager first and be like, hey, this is not cool. Like we're not doing this anymore. And if it continues, then like there could be lawsuits in the future for that. But I always like, this goes back to the point of like, it needs to be run like a business. You need to review all your statements of accounts. Don't trust anybody, but like don't trust anything that you're being given. Like if you're just getting a payment, like don't trust that at face value. Like make sure that you're reviewing the statements of like what the deductions were. What did you pay for? Like, did they charge you $5 for your bottle of water backstage or whatever it ends up being? Make sure that you are conducting your business in a way that you are reviewing those things and that people know that you are reviewing those things, because you are a lot harder to take advantage of if your manager knows that you review all the statements, that you're going to ask these questions. And if you are with a manager that you think is taking advantage of you in that way, you should find a different manager, because these people, at the end of the day, your lawyer, your business manager, your agent, everybody, they work for you. Like these are service providers to you. And if you're not happy with the service that you're receiving, or you can't trust them, whatever, maybe it's time to find a new one. And like you are within your rights to do that. Again, you're the CEO of the business. If someone's not working out for you, you fire them.
Well, like I'm a huge stand-up comedy fan, and Dane Cook is a really famous story of, I think, was it his brother-in-law who was pocketing a lot of money?
Tons of money.
Yeah.
So
what
sometimes, a sad story.
Yeah, sometimes people you think you could trust.
Yeah.
And then which boy band was it that also got royally screwed by their manager?
Yeah.
With the Backstreet Boys or
Yeah,
NSYNC?
I think so. One of them. And isn't that crazy? Like I am, this is just a personal opinion of mine. Like, I don't enjoy working with family or friends because it is a lot harder. I talk about this with contractors at my house all the time. Like, I'm like, it is a lot harder for me to go out and scream at my brother than it would be for me to go out and scream at a contractor that I'm paying at an arm's length deal to do something or get it done. So like, I feel the same way about like family management. Like, you need to be very careful with that because, like, if it's your mom or it's your sister or it's your brother or it's your uncle, like, you need to make sure that you are capable of dividing the person that you are at Thanksgiving from the person whose career they're managing. Or else you're going to put yourself in that kind of a situation where you've decided to trust this person in the business perspective, and you may not be able to trust them in the business perspective as you can trust them in your personal life. But that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff.
Yeah. It's hard. Like, you're like, oh, my mom's not doing a good job as my manager. Like, do you fire her? Like, what do you do? You know?
Yeah, fired your mother?
You fired your mom?
She carried you in her womb and now you're firing her?
And now you're firing her?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you would just caution people not to do family stuff?
Yeah, I would if it were me, if I were in a situation and like I had like children or like I was in this industry and I was the artist.
Yeah.
You can have those people on as like consultants in your business. And like, you're like, my mom is a consultant, is like a consultant to the management of my business. But like, I would always have a third party as in the roles. Like, if I were like, I would hire a lawyer to do the things that I could possibly do for myself. You know, like, I would always have, like, you want the job to go to the best person for your career. And like, of course you value the input of your family members. And unless your father is like the president of a record label somewhere, I think that like it is better off leaving it to the professionals and then having like a collaborative input on, you know, on your career from your family members. And of course, like, everyone's going to look at this and be like, well, Taylor Swift's mom. But like, that's, you know, for every Taylor Swift's moms, there are probably 50 momagers that have not done right necessarily by their artist careers that you've never heard of because they didn't get anywhere.
Ouch. Yeah.
Sorry, momagers. This is not a roast of momagers.
No, because they often care. And they care a lot more than sometimes their kid who they're managing, you know? So, I've seen it so much. And a lot of them are super wise and they do understand that their role is kind of a temporary role until it gets up and running enough that they can hire a professional or whatever. But, so yeah, definitely not dissing
never dissing a momager, but like, it makes me I am the risk averse lawyer in the room. Like, that's my role on any team is like the person that's scared to do the thing. And so like my job is to tell you of all the risks, and like that the most risk averse thing that you can do is hire the third party, put them under a contract and review everything with them as often as possible. Obviously that's not going to be how a lot of people operate, but you know, in those situations, like that's going to lead to the least amount of problems for you in the future that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dealing with all that preemptively is definitely way better.
Yeah.
Just in life, I think.
Just in life. Like it's, you know, what's the, they say like eat the frog, like do the hard thing first.
I've never heard
You've
the
never
frog.
Heard. Well, I'm glad I can introduce you to this. Eat the frog. Like it's a saying of like, in the morning, you should just eat the frog. Like, do the hard thing that you need to do for the day. Just get it done. So that you're not, like, putting it off. Like, you know, these conversations about money, these conversations about splits, these conversations about ownership of things. Like, have the conversation right now. If you have the conversation right now, you don't have to have the conversation later. You've done the hard thing already. Like, the most awkward part of your day has already happened. Just do it now.
I like that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more fun later.
Yes.
When you've eaten the frog.
When you've eaten the frog.
Now I know.
Yeah.
We've got Jordan in the room, by the way. Quick tangent.
Yeah,
but
Jordan.
he and I ate some frog when we were in China last year.
Excellent.
And it was delicious.
I have never eaten frog. I've eaten jellyfish before. That was weird.
Whoa.
Yeah. I did, this is a tangent too.
No,
I
please.
did Taekwondo competitively for 20 years at a national, international level, which is another just weird thing that I do. And my coach was Korean, and his father was the grandmaster of the school, and he was Korean. And we went after a training camp. The lot of us, we went to a restaurant, and my coach looked at me. He goes, part of your mental training, I'm a very picky eater. I am like a white bread and peanut butter for 12 years of my life type of person. And he was like,
Midwesterner in the house.
Very, like, I don't know if you could tell by everything about me, but I'm not adventurous when it comes, I'm very white. I don't know if you could tell by the fact that I'm glowing in the dark right now, but very, very pale. But he looked at me and he goes, part of your mental training today is going to be whatever I put on the plate, and you're not allowed to ask what it is. And I was like, oh my God.
Thank you.
I was like, this is the worst day of my life. And we had just come off of like a week-long training camp of like, we woke up at 7, we would run, we would train, we would fight, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh God, okay. And I ate jellyfish and like a whole bunch of stuff. Again, I wasn't allowed to ask what it was. The restaurant was delightful. They all spoke Korean, so I understood nothing. And I knew the one was jellyfish, because that's really hard. That's really hard to like not be able to tell. You're like, that feels in my mouth exactly like I think of jellyfish would feel.
That's
heinous. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously that impacted me a lot because I needed to bring it up right now. But yes.
Eating jellyfish.
Yeah, it was a rough one.
Yeah.
That was hard. But yeah, it was
man.
One of my favorite, the waitress at that restaurant too. I was the only person there that did not speak Korean. Everybody else spoke Korean fluently, beautifully. And I was like, I can count to 10. And the waitress just like, without missing a beat, just turned to me and started speaking Korean to me. And I looked at her like, and she's like, oh. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And she switched into English immediately. And I was like, thank you so much. I was going to feel so stupid. Yeah. It was a lot of fun after I got past the jellyfish part. Anyway.
I'm definitely going to look into that. Eating jellyfish. Yeah. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
It's got me thinking about the weird things that I ate in China.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Sometimes it's just the presentation that was a little, not what we're used to.
Yeah.
Like having the chicken head, like on the plate. And they serve everything family style, so the whole chicken's right there, and then there's its head.
There's its head. Mm-hmm. You're like, in case you didn't know that it was a chicken, it's a chicken. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Brett Manning, my mentor, ever the innovator, found out that you could use a chicken head as the almost like a cork for your beer bottle.
Incredible.
So
this is the kind of ingenuity that he gets paid the big bucks for.
Yes. The same man, who pioneered the most effective vocal training method has also pioneered an organic.
Yes.
Yeah.
He contains
bottle.
multitudes.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of thing, callback. This is the kind of thing you might need a patent attorney for in the music industry if you are creating such innovations as this. Although, my God, that patent filing would be hilarious.
Could you really file a patent for something like that?
You could certainly try. Patents are for like inventions, basically. Like if you are making something that like, there is a patent for the guitar. There is a patent for the snare drum. And so I'm sure we could be like, this is a thing that we have made out of organic material for the purposes of stopping beer. And you had to like, I'm just trying to think about how we would describe this. And I'm just truly in my brain right now is like a sketch drawing of a beer bottle with a chicken head on top of it. And it is, I'm going to need to pay someone to draw that.
I wish I had.
Incredible.
I wish I had the picture.
Yeah.
Jordan, I don't know who has it. Someone has the picture.
Oh man.
But yeah, if we can track it down, I'll insert it here.
Yes.
Yeah. Insert the.
That's just the cover photo of this entire interview. It's just
Well, you like that was really cool. We've
thanks.
gone to. Well, sorry. What I mean to say is like the whole chicken thing or whatever. That was us looking for fun to be had when we're in a foreign country where we aren't fluent in the language.
Yeah.
We're working hard. Our partners and hosts out there were really sweet though. So but still,
there's like no hospitality like Chinese and Japanese is also hospitality. I've never seen anything like it. It's really crazy.
100%.
Yeah.
So like on our first trip there, it was a big group of us, and that's where I proposed to Jessica as well, was on the first trip.
Fun.
But Brett and Jordan got to ride with the partner. They got picked up in a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or something from the airport.
Incredible.
So yeah, and it was a long drive. So they drove that car like 2 hours or something.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
yeah, the hospitality was just incredible.
You guys were in a Toyota Corolla behind them or something. You're like, this is from 1995. Anyway.
So their electric car game, is next level. But I've heard that the car industry there is like subsidized by the government as well. So it was a phenomenal SUV that we were riding in. So we were still...
Yeah, you guys are fine.
Yeah, we were super comfortable. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But still, we can't say that we were picked up in a Rolls Royce or whatever it was.
No, certainly not.
From the airport. Just some quick Nashville living stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be quick.
It never is with me.
And yeah, I think let's do a lot of these. So we can just, because it's fun. I think when you don't live in a music city and you're a musician with aspirations, of like one day moving or just building a career, you kind of want to know how things are going.
Yeah.
That's often the conversation I have with friends and students is just like, hey, I want to move to Nashville one day. Like, they want to know about the social stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. I saw that you were at an event yesterday.
I was.
Was it Women on
Rising
Music Row?
Women of the Row.
Yeah.
It was
How was
hosted.
that?
It was amazing. It was hosted by Music Row Magazine, which is a great trade publication in town. Fantastic folks, and they honor every year women that are in the music business that are doing just incredible things. We had folks that are in publicity. We had folks that are in management. We had someone from Spotify. Like the honorees this year were just, they were incredible. And the room we were at the JW Marriott, and the room was huge.
Whoa.
And it was humongous. And there were tons and tons of people from like all the record labels and all the production people and all of like everything that you could think of. And then what I thought was really beautiful is that, and this is the kind of town that Nashville is, that I think anyway, and which I thought was really cool, is that if like the honorees that work with some of these large artists, the large artists were also there. Like they were at the tables with their manager.
Wow.
Like Megan Moroney was in the room.
No
Luke Combs
way.
was in the room. Like Russell Dickerson were in the room because their people on their team were being honored with awards, and they showed up and supported their team members.
That is so nice.
Isn't that cool?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, and this was my first year attending the awards or the honoree breakfast. And I was so like touched by that, that, Megan Moroney just had this massive release. Luke Combs too, just put stuff out. Russell Dickerson is never not going viral on TikTok at this point. Fantastic. But like they take the time out of their whole schedule of their own career to go and support the people that support them. And I was like, that is so indicative to me of like the expand the pie and like the community of the town. And like, of course it's like a competitive cutthroat industry, but like, it feels more like that from like the social media side of things, from like the streaming side of things, and like the counting the number of followers on Instagram and how many views your TikTok got and how many monthly listeners you have on Spotify. But like actually being in the room and community with people, it feels very different than that. And I thought that was just so cool to see. And like also the amount of people that just everybody knows. Everybody, like, hugging each other and saying hello and all of that. Like, it was really cool to be there and be a part of that.
Yeah. In general, was this a NBA, no boys allowed?
No boys. No, there were boys there. Tragically,
aside
no, I'm
from
just
Luke.
kidding. Yeah. No, there were, they're like, somebody even said, they're like women and our allies. And there were, I wouldn't say a lot of men, but there were dudes in the room as well. So you guys are invited to our breakfast.
I wasn't invited, and I was really upset. Yeah, I was like scrolling, like seeing stories, and I was like, "Oh, look at this event that no one told me about.
That no one invited me to." Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like, I think, from the social aspect, and something that I myself am working on is like, I saw something online that was like, luck is giving yourself more opportunities to be lucky. Like, it's increasing your surface area of touchability. And like, I feel like that's what Nashville is in a lot of ways. It's like, go to more stuff. This is what I'm working on. Go to more stuff, meet more people, be in more rooms, because like, you never know when you will get lucky, like when the luck is going to hit you. But if you have more touch points, and you meet more people, like, the likelihood of success grows because your community grows. And like, what I think about from an artist perspective is like, if you're an artist and you're coming to town, like, go to as many things as you can. Like, expand your community of people that you know in town, so that like, if you ever need a drummer, you have a roster of drummers that you can think about. If you need a steel player, you have a roster of people. But like, expand. When you get to town, it's, I think, very easy to be like, I don't know anybody. I'm going to stay in my apartment and enjoy my rent for the evening. But like, I think that when you get here, it's intimidating, but just like, start going to rooms. Like, go to the Station Inn for their jam on Sunday nights. Yeah. Like, go to a writer's round just to see the people that are there, and like, go up and introduce yourself afterwards. Like, it's not going to cost you very much, and it's going to pay dividends in the future as you start to learn and get to know people. Even if you're not playing at these things, just knowing people is going to increase the amount of luck that you have, I think, in the music industry.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And it's actually not that hard to meet people, if you're trying. Two good friends who are students, like their first week in Nashville, doing their first co-write, fast forward a couple of years, end up being two songwriters with big publishing deals and major cuts as well. Yeah. And it was like this humble meeting where they were nobodies who were just kind of new to town. Exactly. At first.
You come up with the people you come into town with. And like, that is a credo that you'll hear 100 times. But Lauren and I were just talking about this recently too. Like, the people that, like, Lauren is obviously further along in her career and like, big fish of what she is. She came up with these people and these like young executives on the business side too. Like, right. And so like, as you keep going and you guys keep progressing in your careers together, you call upon each other, and like, the rising tide raises all ships. It's the same on the music side. Like, the people that like you get to town with, that you're starting to like put together your first recordings, like you're putting out your first songs, the people that you're in the room with and writing with at that level, like, you're going to grow together. And so like, you're going to become these larger artists, these larger writers together in the same room. And so I think what I've seen is it's difficult for some people to not blow that off and to treat that seriously as your network, because like, I'm thinking specifically about a lawyer that I knew, who didn't really like want to talk to people that were at their level. They didn't want to talk to those people. They wanted to talk to the partners and the large business folks that were above everybody else, because they were like, well, those are the important people. But like, those are not going to be the, it's awful. I mean, he was the worst anyway. But he, like, if you don't put yourself in a position to like create your network around you, like, I'm not going to call, like, if, a partner is not going to call me to handle a matter necessarily, but my friend that I've been working with for 5 years is like, my friend Kathleen, I don't do this, but my friend Kathleen does this. And we're at approximately the same level. We can call back and forth to each other. Because like, I'm not going to be like, I brought in this business, let me turn around and give it to XYZ partner that charges $1,500 an hour for their time. That's not really going to work. But if you're in the situations and you're like, I did a co-write last week with this person. They were really great. You should do a co-write with that person. They're like, and then, you're creating magic together as opposed to you're like, I'm going to try to write exclusively with the biggest writers I can possibly think of. That's not going to benefit your community. Like you're trying as you are learning to crawl, you're trying to run with people that are running. Learn to crawl with your people so you can walk together and then run together. I think that people overlook that. I think that the people that you are coming into town with are going to be here with you for the next 25 years.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And a lot of people want the big opportunity that they're not ready for yet. So they would actually squander it if it happened right now, kind of thing. So yeah, I prefer, I get it. People are in a rush. Some people are broke and their whole thing is, I need this to make money for me. Yeah. So I get that. Yeah. I get that. So all the more, work on developing your craft. Right. So that you can be compelling enough to get into those rooms and crush it. But definitely, I think in general, whether it's performing on stage or in a write or whatever else, you got to have experience with people who are beginners. You got to try to get all the Murphy's Law stuff out of the way. Yes. Right. Yes. Have cringy writes, have experiences where you don't like the way the collaboration went for whatever reason. Get all those out of the way before you try to get into the room with someone huge. Yeah. And the same thing with performing. So I'm a huge advocate for singers, especially new singers who haven't performed, getting on stage and doing karaoke. Yes. Because no one expects you to do well. Right. Exactly. That is the most low stakes environment to get behind a mic and open your mouth and sing. Yes. Yeah, I think that's so important. You have to, my brother says this to me a lot because I'm, at this point of my life, it is a lot harder for me to be bad at things than it was when I was younger. And so starting things that are new is scarier to me now. Than it was before. My joke is that I play the mandolin badly, and I do badly, but enthusiastically. But it's difficult to be bad at things, and I get that. When you're I want to be a singer, and you get on stage, and you're like, oh shoot, I'm really not good at being on this stage. That's hard, and that's difficult. But my brother says, you have to be bad at things to be good at things. And if you're not, nobody's stepping on stage for their first freaking time and being like, I am Lainey Wilson. I am Ella Langley. The overnight successes that you're seeing are people that have put in the reps and the work at stages that you've never seen before, at writers rounds that you've never seen before and you've never thought about. So put in your reps while nobody knows who you are. Learn the lessons you need to learn while nobody knows who you are. It's, again, the baby metaphor of you're crawling with other people that are crawling. Sometimes you're going to fall on your face. And it's so much easier to fall on your face in a room full of people that are also going to be falling on their faces, either in the recent past or recent future, than it is to walk into that room with Liz Rose, who has been sprinting for a long time, and who is an excellent sprinter at this game. But try your best. Obviously do your best, but you have to give yourself permission to be bad at things. Yeah. In order to be world-class at them. Definitely. It's such a trip. The first time you get on stage and whatever, you get up there, you get stage fright, and then you go, oh my gosh, I have toes. I've never noticed that I have toes before, and they're right beneath me. What do I do with them as I'm standing in front of people? And much less all your other body parts. I have shoulders. What do I do while I'm up here on stage? Yeah. So you have to have your OMG, my toes. Yeah. When you're, before going for the bigger opportunities. For sure. And because you're not going to sing to the best of your abilities until you have completely, done away with the nerves that come with being up there. It's really hard to be mindful. For sure. When you're in those situations. So
I think it's hard not to be self-conscious in those situations too, of like standing up there and saying, you know, like, this is something that I'm good at and that I love to do. And like, if I do a bad job and people say, this is my own thought process too, of like, if I do a bad job and people say, oh my God, she's not good at this. Like, this is the thing that I care about most. Like, this is the thing I want to be really good at. And so like, you have to do it. You have to do exposure therapy a lot in order to get to a point where like you don't care about that as much anymore. And like where you can just do it. Singing, I feel like, is a very intimate thing. It's like, because it's not, I always, when I was in high school, I don't know if you can tell by everything about me, but I was a theater kid.
No way.
Me? And when I was like, I found it so much easier to like be in musicals and whatever, where I was singing as a character, as opposed to like getting up and singing as Kathleen Martini. Like that is so much more difficult because it feels so much more intimate and it has more to do with like who I am as a person. And so like it is, I mean, it's not an easy thing at all. And that's just why I tell, whenever I see live musicians, I was like, I think what you guys do is the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Because it's so exposing to put yourself out there in that way. And like, it's not easy to do. Like it's, you know, it's that little thing of like little kids are really good at, they have no fear, but like as an adult, like you want to protect that in yourself. So you have to practice like, you know, this is going to sound so, I was going to say you have to practice exposing yourself, but you shouldn't do that. But you have to practice that level of vulnerability in order to become skilled at doing it. Yeah. And so again, let yourself be bad. Like karaoke is such a good way to do that. Do karaoke before you go to the open mic. Like do karaoke before, like go to the open mic before you try to book a writer's round. Like, you know, work your ways up. Like I think, you know, people knock Broadway a lot, but I think Broadway is great for that because it is 4 hours of intense practice on how to be on stage.
Yeah.
But again, you have to build up to that too, because that's a gauntlet in and of itself.
It is.
And that's not for, I mean, performers are built brick by brick down there because it's just nonstop bachelorette parties all the time. But yeah, I think like, you know, giving yourself the permission to like crawl before you walk before you run is one that people, you know, give yourself time to do. No overnight success that you can think of online is actually an overnight success, with like very, very few exceptions.
Yep.
People talk about Ella Langley being like coming out of nowhere. That girl didn't come out of nowhere. That girl was performing at Whiskey Jam in like 2016. Like, you know, that like she didn't come out of nowhere. She's been putting in the reps the whole time. And like thinking about it that way, you have to put in your reps too before you can have your Ella Langley moment.
Yeah. Who's the he's a bar owner, celebrity country singer. I think he has a bar in Midtown.
Riley Green.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, it was, and I'm not making fun of the person, but they go, yeah, like Riley Green is an overnight success. They genuinely believe that. And I'm like, okay, I've been coaching singers, here for 10 years now. I was coaching singers year one, through Riley's songs. Yeah. So, and he just happened to be like a hometown hero for this one singer kind of thing. So yeah, he wasn't super famous yet. I know. But 10 years ago, this guy's working extremely hard already on his craft. So exactly. Yeah, just to your point, that was a funny recent, and the singer like took that correction well. I was like, oh, I've actually known about them for a long time. They go, oh, okay, so yeah, not overnight at all. That he actually, I think, had a longer haul than some other musicians have. Yeah. You know, like getting to stardom. So yeah. And I think like, you know, people hear the Bailey Zimmerman story of like, yeah, I posted a cover on TikTok and then I went to bed and I woke up the next morning and I like had 1 million views on TikTok and I had like 3 record labels in my inbox immediately. Like people see that and they think that is like possible. Like not to be, obviously it's possible, it's happened, but like people think that is, you know, a way that this could happen as well, as if that's not like lightning in a bottle type of situation. It is much more likely that you get here. And that's like, even if you don't feel fully ready to be here, just be here. We talk about at my house all the time,
my drummer boyfriend is like, I've always been here. He's been in town for like 16 years now. And he's like, I stayed when it was hard. I stayed when I had to get, jobs at a moving company to try to like make sure I wasn't evicted from my house. But I just stayed and I kept going. And now, he has, that now you get the calls. Your book is large enough. Your network is large enough. The opportunities are coming. And those opportunities come because you stayed and you kept going. And like, you played Whiskey Jam and you did all these things and you played all these writers rounds and you were out at Nashville Palace and you were doing these things way before, you went viral on TikTok and now everybody knows all of your songs. And that's like the slow burn is one that you shouldn't be afraid of. But the earlier you start, the quicker, like the longer you'll be burning for. And the more years and the more opportunities you'll have sooner because the time will pass anyway.
Very true. Very true. If someone gives you like, hey, in 2 years, something big will happen. In the moment, you might be like, that's a long time.
Right.
It is not a long time whatsoever.
Nope.
And in case it comes off the wrong way, like we're preaching about other people, I think these are beliefs that we hold ourselves to, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so we're kind of rehearsing, like these are the thoughts that we tell ourselves when we're new to town or whatever, new to an environment, a music environment, and we're nobodies. And it's okay to be a nobody, but like when I first moved here, but we have amazing teams, right?
And I feel like a nobody still. Like I moved to town 3 years ago. It took me like 2 years to even have the opportunity to be in the music world. It's like my lawyerly tenure town story. And I was a lawyer. I've been a lawyer since 2018. So God, that's a long time. Anyway.
Since when now?
2018.
Oh my gosh. 8 years ago.
I know. 8 years ago. God. Anyway, I was so full of joy and light at that point. Anyway, but
life has a way of beating you down, doesn't it?
Just down. So many loan agreements. God. Anyway, but like I was a lawyer for 5 years before I moved to Nashville, and then living in Nashville, it took 2.5 years to make it so that music was my full job. Like, I was doing, like when I was at my last place, like I was 20% music. And then when I I was doing a lot of corporate stuff, I was doing other things that will lend themselves to the skill set that I need to be in the music industry, but it wasn't music specific. And so like, even I was like, oh, man, this slog sucks. Like, what am I even doing? I remember being like, I went out to LA. I was on the phone with my mom walking around Beverly Hills at 6:00 in the morning going like, what am I doing here? Like, this is so stupid. Like, maybe I just like stop trying for the music business stuff. And I just go back to being a commercial contracts lawyer. Like, I made good money doing it. I'm good at it. Like, I can just do that. And I can have music as a side project maybe if I'd like that in the future. And like, then, that it took that amount of time for me to even have the opportunity to come to Buchalter and to do music as like my full-time gig. And so like, and that's on the business side of the house. Like the artist side of the house where there's so many more of you, that's just going to take longer. So there are going to be those moments where you need to call your mom and be like, what the hell am I doing? Like, this sucks. And like, let it suck and then just do it anyway. Like you don't have to do it with 100% passion 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just show up with what you have and you do it anyway. And then like the passion will come back. But the important point is that you don't stop.
And like 30% of the time, it works every time.
Every time.
Yes.
30% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah. I mean, again, when you have an amazing team, it does, it can accelerate things a bit for you. Or at least like you can say, if you're a nobody, you can say, well, I'm coaching for Brett, or I work under my mentor, Brett Manning, and people
I feel the
will
same
go,
about Lauren.
Yeah. I've heard of him. And Brett, he's got singers that he developed who are superstars.
Right.
They're like elite. And I've got people who are on that trajectory, but no one who's there yet, so... And it doesn't matter. I'm happy to coach the passionate hobbyist as much as the huge superstar, but staying humble, and just like you said, being patient with it and just letting it take some time. because Brett's been at it for longer than I have too,
Yeah.
and I've definitely hit some benchmarks. I think maybe faster than he did because he's my mentor and he's letting me, benefit from the reputation that he's built. So,
which I think is also like, an important thing of like find those people that can champion you in your own life.
mm-hmm.
Because like that makes like nobody gets where they're going by doing it by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if they do, it took them 3 times as long as it would have. Like, I feel it's like Lauren, I tell people I came to Buchalter to work with Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's like, she invites me to the rooms that I want to be in. Like, she is like, you're going to this thing. I'm going to this thing. Do you want to come? Like, I was in the room yesterday because she invited me to be there,? And so like, you can toil by yourself, or you can find people who have walked the path that you're trying to walk and beg them to take you along with them. And finding those people who are willing to do that and to take the time is so important.
And you said that Lauren's got, she's kind of actively mentoring you too, right?
Yeah.
Or like bringing you along with.
Yeah. Yeah. I get a lot of my work from her right now. As I build like my own roster of clients and business and stuff. I do whatever work she tells me to do, honestly, in the music space. But her office is right next to mine. I go into the office every day just to have proximity to her. And if things come up, she will coach me through them. She coaches me through, agreements I haven't seen before, or things I haven't thought of. And we collaborate on a lot of stuff, which is what I love about working for a firm like Buchalter. We are a national firm that has offices in LA and Atlanta and Chicago and Orange County and Seattle and all over the place. We have more than 600 lawyers now, I think, nationwide. And I have the benefit of, if I don't know how to do something, I'm great at the corporate stuff. I'm excellent at it. But if there's something like IP litigation that I don't know about, we have the people to do it. If there's something like, I have a branding deal with this major fashion house. I'm like, I've never done one of those before, but I know Phil in LA has done it before. And so I'm going to go talk to Phil and work with Phil. I can do any of those things. And that's, I think, fantastic because it gives me the expertise of others that I can draw upon for help and to learn from.
And the reason why that's a massive benefit for a lot of people is that the fills are going to cost a ton to work with, right? So, so for you to have access to Phil, but be at a lower price point right now, means that people kind of get access to his expertise through you, right?
Right.
Which is exactly the same situation here where I do not cost what Brett Manning costs to work with, but he's my mentor. He's trained me to coach, And I'm continuing. My room is right next to his. Same situation. So if you want to learn Brett's method but can't afford Brett, I'm here.
Right.
And I'm okay with that too. Yeah. By the way,
I feel that way too of often there are times if I have to bring in a partner that's more expensive than me on a litigation matter that I can't handle, sure, you're going to pay their prices, but you actually don't have to look for who that person's going to be because I already know who they are. But if I have a question, I'm doing a contract and I have a question and I pick up the phone and I say, hey, what should I do about this and that, the other thing? And answer. Okay, click. I can go back to doing my contract at the lower. It's going up with the people that you're growing up and growing bigger with the people that are at your level and are growing up and growing bigger. For me, a lot that is the younger executives in the music space is the artists that are just getting started, and then we can grow together. Which I think is really it's really cool because the time's going to pass anyway. We're going to get to a point 20 years in the future and things are going to look staggeringly different than they look right now. But you can't get there without being here first. And that's how I feel too about it. I don't have, I have a lot of people that I help out with who are folks that I've met just around town. Yeah. And that they put out maybe one record or they've put out an EP or they're just putting out singles. And I tell them, because they're my friends, I'm you do not sign anything until you call me. And just getting in at that ground level together. It's not like they're going to pay me, $1 million a year of a book. Yep. But if they're the next insert artist here. They're the next Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
Like the deals are going to become larger. They're going to make more money. Then I'm going to make more money because they need to pay me for more things. We rise together and we all come up together. But like, also, I don't think like everyone wants to be the overnight success of like going from 0 to 1 million streams a month on Spotify. But like, you have to prepare yourself for that. Like, I'm not prepared to be in a position where I am like representing all these massive artists yet, because like I haven't gone through the reps that I need to go through right now. And it's the same with artists. Like I haven't gone through the reps at the beginning of my career when like, you know, I'm booking shows out at $500, then I'm booking shows out at $5,000, then I'm booking shows out at $10,000, and like on and on and on until you hit the stratosphere of whatever.
Yep.
You have to go through all of those stages so that you know what they look like and feel like.
Sure.
And then like level up from there.
And there is something very compelling, though, about working with, I think, someone who's with the team and not as senior as the most senior person there.
Yeah.
For several reasons. I think that, you know, there might be fear of, oh, if I go straight to the big dog, and this isn't the case, but it can often feel like the case. They're going to sandbag me, or they will be reticent about a lot of things, you know, unless I rack up the hours with them, or I won't be as important to them. I'm not saying this is the case because it's not, but there is a huge advantage to coming up with someone, like you said.
Yeah.
And then also, the fact of the matter is that it's typically people who are somewhere around our position who are going to get the most reps at the game, because every consecutive step up, you do start getting less reps because you're working with bigger people, kind of a thing too.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the case with a lot of producers in town, for example. So obviously there's some A-list guys who are on their run right now, who are whatever in their 30s and 40s, who are just like working with every big artist. And then those who are maybe 50s and 60s who have been there, done that, have slowed down quite a bit, and they're not working with a lot of the new blood. So
and you think about too, like, you know, if you sign, people think like, oh, I'm going to sign with this massive label, or I'm going to sign with this huge manager. It's like, and you know, they you know, influence the career of XYZ person, like who's a superstar. Like they did that earlier in their career, right?
Yep.
Like it doesn't mean they're going to necessarily be able to do that for you because they're at a different point in their career. Like find who that person can be for you. And, you know, and also I think like the attentiveness, like the willingness to do the work, like the willingness to bend over backwards, like the willingness to respond. A lot of the issues in like music laws, you can't even get your lawyer. Like the joke is you can't get your lawyer on the phone to fire him. But like responsiveness, like, you know, passion for what you're doing, belief in what you're doing, like all of these things are easier for someone that's at your level that you can come up together and learn together. And they're going to have more room on their roster. Like some people are just going to be, if they're the big cats, you're going to be conflicted out of a lot of situations because they have, you know, like there are of course conflict waivers, but we deal with that all the time in the music industry because everybody's working with each other at all times. But like if you get a big cat who like they're massive client, and like Warner Chappell has a lot of their in-house people, so it's not really, it's a weird analogy, but like let's say like the big cat is Warner Chappell. If the lawyer that like you're getting has a rate that's high enough that Warner Chappell is the one that is affording them, you're conflicted out. If you have a record deal with Warner Chappell, they can't negotiate that for you.
I see.
And so like a lot of times that becomes like a difficulty too. And like, you know, if there's conflicts with Buchalter, like we always like, there's tons of people in town that we can refer to, but like getting somebody that you can get in with on the ground level is going to make sure that like you are a large portion of their business as well. And like, not just, you know, that they're not having to like make special concessions with a bigger fish than you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's draw this thing to a close for now.
Okay.
You are the first one, so thanks for being the...
Absolutely.
Yeah, you said earlier there's big fish. You called Lauren a big fish. I was going to say you're a jellyfish.
I'm a jellyfish.
Callback.
Absolutely, I am. That, everyone, is called a callback
Yes. So...
in comedy.
So would love to have you back to do more of these because there's
Yeah.
a lot more pointed subjects that we can get into. But
For
I
sure.
think the big takeaway is that you should eat the frog.
Eat
Yeah,
the
I think
frog.
that was a really memorable way of putting it. Like, do the hard thing first, and when it comes to everything copyright, you want to have those discussions preemptively with people.
Mm-hmm.
You want to build your team early as well to avoid all the terrible things that could happen if you do things in the wrong order.
Yeah.
If people want to work with you, how can they get in touch?
You can email me at kmartini@buchalter.com. Buchalter is Buchalter. I'm on their website. There's only one Kathleen Martini with a K. There is another Kathleen Martini with a C, but she is a German bobsledder and way cooler than me, so tragically. But yeah, there's only one of me. I'm Kathleen Martini on Instagram if you want to see pictures of my dogs, but mostly my work email.
What are your dogs' names?
My dogs' names are Cornbread and Tater.
Amazing.
They are 10-week-old golden doodles, and they are menaces to society, but very cute.
Those are both really good foods, so please
Yes.
don't eat your dogs because you named them after great meals.
I will do my best. I used to have a dog named Noodle. Really?
Oh
good
my gosh,
food.
what happened to Noodle?
Noodle died.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I was, Noodle was the first food named dog that I had. And so now she has started a trend. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that girl had the audacity to die on me, and I'll never forgive her.
Yeah, I think next time buy an immortal dog.
Yeah, that's, I'm really working on that. I was working on some witchcraft to make sure she lived forever, but alas. She had to die before I could figure it out. Modern technology, it's fine.
Well, Kathleen Martini, Buchalter, Nashville, Tennessee, represent.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
That was great.
Woohoo! That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.